There's a couple different topics I want to throw into this video, and we'll see how cohesive this is, because I'm still getting food back into my system and my head's still a little wonky. I want to discuss something people always say, I want Shannon to talk about this. People who've been long-term fans of the channel know one thing. When Shannon talks about something that everybody's asking him to talk about, they don't always get what they want. Oh, you may get the topic. You may get the exact topic that you're looking for. But it may not be in the form that you think. I watched a lot of sports. I've watched football, baseball, basketball, hockey, any team sport, even European football, as we call it, soccer on this side of the pond. I try to call it football, but then people, NFL fans, get confused. So, I've always heard this term, bias. Bias, bias, there's a league bias, there's a bias, there's a bias, there's a huge bias, there's a bias around there. Don't watch the hockey guy, he's biased. You can't watch post to post, they're biased. Steve Dangle's biased. He's a Leafs fan. Dangle didn't put his channel together because he's a hockey fan. He did it to celebrate his Leafs, and good for him. And as fans, you cheer for your favorite team. And as a fan who cheers for your favorite team, guess what? We are all biased. It's in everybody. So how does this affect the sport? Let's look at Giordano's hit yesterday. Was it late? A little bit. Did Aho get hurt? Yes. It's a debate that I've had in sports for a while. And I don't think this just goes to hockey. I think this happens in football too. You see it all the time. It's okay that I drink this because it's got electrolytes. It's what plants crave. You'll see like some guy go down in football, a massive hit. He gets right back up. You go, good hit. Same hit, later, same game, maybe a different angle. Guy gets taken off on a stretcher, put on that cart, driven off the field. It looks bad. Could be the exact same hit. Different angle. I didn't look at what Giordano did and say that he's a dirty player, because I haven't really seen that with Giordano. When you have a defenseman that's on the ice a lot, 25 or more minutes per game, you get into your Ryan Suters, your Zdeno Charas, and Shea Webers, you're going to have dirty-looking hits because they're on the ice half the game. Their job is, as a defenseman, to stop the forwards. I mean, Erik Karlsson's almost pure offense, but Erik Karlsson is capable of laying out a hit when a guy's coming at him. It's been harder for him this year because his foot speed has been compromised by his foot. Is there a bias? Yes. Do I hold it against anybody? No. Do I call anybody out on it? No. Bless you. Do I call anybody out on it? No. Do people call me out on it? Sure. Do I do my best to mitigate it and minimize it? Yes. When I watch as my favorite team beats somebody, let's say Vancouver was to defeat Anaheim 6-1. Would I be doing a happy dance here? Maybe. Maybe not this year with the way the Canucks record is. It's kind of like, all right. I know they went on a run through California. I think it was towards the end of last year where they won a few games in California, and we're like, I don't know what you guys are doing. You're just blowing your draft ranking, your chances of drafting earlier, but all right, fine. But when I come onto this channel and I talk to you guys, I don't want that to come across. But it's there. Tonight it was said on MSNBC by one of their colorful personalities that when Cogliano levels somebody like that, it's a late hit. He hit Kempe. The NHL should have looked the other way because Cogliano's a clean player. Look the other way for one guy and not for everybody else. That's bias. Are officials biased? Yeah, because they're human. You're going to think, that guy's a jerk. I don't like him, and he's in this game, and But the thing that gets me is I'm kind of surprised because we sit here as fans and we critique referees like crazy. Have you ever actually sat and counted? Just sit down sometime with a piece of note paper. Every time you see a player on either team, it doesn't matter which one, shouting at a referee. Every single time. And then think about how, even as cool and calm as referees are, that's got to make you angry. These guys yelling, and you're not calling unsportsmanlike conduct on these guys 99 times out of 100, and then that one time you do, did you see what he just did? He just gave the coach penalty for yelling at him. Yeah, he's done. Usually what a referee will do is he'll normally go over and he'll say, all right, I've had enough. He'll tell both benches, I've had enough. Or in most cases, it's usually one team yelling at him by that point. Usually by this time, you're looking about the third period. He'll go over to that bench and say, all right, I've had enough. Cut it out. Next one's a penalty. They'll skate away, and I've seen where a referee will kind of give that talk. And then as he's left that area, and he's starting to get ready to enjoy the effervescence of the game and fans telling him how much he sucks, the coach will say something else. That's when the ref goes, 2. Throw a guy in the box. Unsportsmanlike. And then the fans really let him know how much they like him. Is the NHL's head office biased? Sure. A little bit. Not in terms of suspensions. I don't see it. I just don't. I think they're inconsistent, and their inconsistency I don't read as bias. I don't look at a call that's made on Cogliano and not made on Giordano and say, that's bias. I look at that and go, that's inconsistent. Do I look at the Cogliano hit and say, that's dirtier than what Doughty did? No. Do I look at Doughty's and say that elbow is suspendable? I don't know. I see a lot of elbows in games. And the other thing about it too is how many things aren't seen on the cameras. How many times does something happen off camera behind a net somewhere where player A's got player B down on the ground and he's like, boom, right in the side of the head. It happens. I'll let you up, but first, 2 for flinching. Those don't get suspended because they're not on camera anywhere. And stuff that got missed in the 80s, I'm sure, is just... If we'd had the cameras in the 80s that we had now, holy crow. There was a lot of stuff that happened back then. I mean, I'm looking through old hockey magazines and reading about things that happened, and I'm like, wow. I mean, like biting incidents and vicious stick swingings and all these things. And back before there was large penalties and suspensions for knocking down linesmen, they were fair game. If you're fighting with somebody and the linesman grabs you, you can turn around and just fling them off. I'm not done yet. I think there's too much talk of bias, and there's not enough talk about fixing it. You can't make people not biased. And I think where it shows is that, and I'm not calling out anybody. I'm not. So if anybody's going to think, well, he's calling out this fan base. Nope. I'm going to do this. I'm going to revisit the 2011 finals for one reason. I belonged to both the Boston Bruins fan page and the Vancouver Canucks fan page. And according to the Vancouver Canucks fan page, the Boston Bruins were the dirtiest bunch of sons of bitches you ever played against. But according to the Boston Bruins fan page, the Vancouver Canucks were the dirtiest sons of bitches you ever played against. And according to the rest of NHL fans, they were both right. But according to the Canucks fan base, anything that they did, anything these players did, was started by the Bruins. Yeah, Burrows did that, but did you see what the other guy... Oh yeah, well we did that, but did you see what the other guy did? We have an inherent protection of our own players. So when a big hit happens and our player delivers it, we just see that big hit and go, wow, that's awesome. That was a great hit. If it's your player taking the hit, you go, oh, that looked like that hurt. Was that legal? Right off the bat, you have a completely opposing point of view. One who's going, that was a great hit. Not analyzing it, just in the moment, and the other one going, man, that looked really, was he off his feet? And then, say, 30 seconds later, 20, maybe 10, the whistle blows, and that guy's still on the ice. That fan who saw a really good hit is going, hey, he's down, but that to me looked clean. And the other fan's saying, he's still down on the ice. I don't think that was a clean hit. There's an inherent bias, and we all suffer from it. And part of what having this channel has forced me to do is really confront it. I got called out on my reactionary video when the Maple Leafs won the draft lottery a couple years back. Oh, so long ago when they won the Auston Matthews draft lottery. And I was really angry because I didn't want to see Leafs crap all over my TV all summer, blah, blah, blah. And I deleted it. It's gone. Because it's not who I am now. And it's partly due to the fact that watching every game and seeing all these hits, the game moves really fast. We watch these hits in slow-mo. And I sometimes think that the slow-motion cameras, as awesome as they are for capturing everything, they also wipe out what really happened. Here's my point. Let's say we're playing hockey against each other. You're coming in over the blue line, and I'm coming up to meet you. And you go to go around me, and I'm like, oh, crap. And instinctively, I put my leg out. 99 times out of 100, I don't. But just that one time, I'm like, maybe my coach just rode me that I'm really, really close to being benched. Because one too many guys have got around me, and if one more, I swear. Maybe I just had a really crappy day. And I don't feel like I can handle more disappointment in my life than this. So I stick my leg out. Stupid move. I feel like crap as soon as I see my knee hit his. He crumples down. I feel like crap. Now, in full speed, you can kind of see that was just a split-second stupid decision on my part. In slow motion, it looks terrible. Slow motion, it looks like I should be on 20/20, I should be on Dateline, I should probably be behind bars. Because I clearly intended to destroy somebody's knee. And I think with a lot of these hits and a lot of these instant replays, and where 20 years ago we were getting shown fight after fight after fight after, like, oh, look what Domi and Probert did, look what all these guys did, look what that new Rick Rippon kid's doing. Like, there was always new fighters coming up. We'd have all these fights, all these highlights. Because now they don't have fights to show us and highlights to show us the goals and those hits in slow motion. Because you kids and myself, we love to see them. And in slow motion, they look vicious. Hockey is fast. And you show me a defenseman that doesn't step up and hit a guy. Maybe he makes a stupid decision when he does it. But you show me a defenseman that doesn't step up. You show me a defenseman who goes, I better not. I'm going to show you a guy who spends his career in the AHL. Maybe lower. I'm going to show you a guy who, because he doesn't take a risk, doesn't make it. Think of the players who've come up that they've said, well, he doesn't hit. Think of the defenseman that we say he's timid. Look at the way I've talked about Kyle Wellwood. Every time somebody went near Kyle Wellwood, he'd just give up the puck. Wouldn't take a hit. It was frustrating to watch. Would I want to take a hit from Ken Baumgartner? No. Here you go, Mr. Baumgartner. Would you like me to just go ahead and shine up that puck for you? No, just take it. It's okay. It's fine. I'm going to go sit on the bench and put a towel over my head. There's been a lot of people who will say, Shannon, do a video on this hit. Do a video on that hit. There's a bias there. Here's the difference. The difference for me is simple. So there's 3 types of hits. Okay? And I'll do this properly. I'm also not going to use this marker because it's not drawing wide enough. I don't know why. It's probably biased against me, I would imagine. They're all out to get me, these markers. They've always had it in for me. All right. So, there's 3 kinds of hits. I'm going to tell you which kind I'm most likely to do a video about. There's the ones that we all agree are clean. We all say, you know what? That's clean. That's a good, clean hockey play. There's the ones that we all agree are dirty. The only fans who won't are a limited number of fans of that team, or those few remaining hockey fans who say everything should be legal, like it should just be Thunderdome out there. I always found that weird when it's like, well, why should we have that a rule? Players should police themselves. Well, then we shouldn't have any penalties. Everything should be legal. Everything. You name it, it's legal. I want to bite him in the face. Well, since a player wants to do it, why not? Sure. Bite his face. Why aren't all of you guys biting each other's faces? He clearly wants it more than you. It's ridiculous. The rules are there because players can't police themselves. It's the same idea as there shouldn't be anybody watching what politicians do. There shouldn't be anybody watching what coworkers do at certain jobs because, they're unsupervised, but we're sure they're not going to go into the till and help themselves hand over fist. Being naive like that is just, they're not going to police themselves. But the second kind of hit is the one where one fan base comes in and says that was a dirty hit. If a hit is being criticized by one fan base, I feel for that fan base. And again, I'm not directing this at one because I see it a lot. By a lot of fan bases. It's all of us. Myself included. This is why I don't do reactionary videos. Last year, famously, of course, after Daniel Sedin got steamrolled by Nazem Kadri, I recorded a reactionary video. And I wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't. Have I done a reactionary video at all of any of hockey this year? No. Because I don't do that anymore. It's not... Is it honest? Yeah, it's honest in how I feel emotionally. But that's what this is. When we all agree it's clean, when most 99% of us agree it's dirty, and okay, 99% agree it's clean, the emotional side of it is taken out. But when it's one fan base saying, hey, this is stupid, at that point I have to look and say, okay, I understand they feel this way, but there's an inherent bias. We all have it. Like I said, I do my best to fight it. I have done really well. I very rarely get angry at a hockey game anymore. The only time I get mad at a hockey game now is where a team I cheer for just hands it away. When they're playing such a good game and then, oh, really? That turnover? Oh, of course it's in our net. Oh, you were so close. That's basically it. I honestly feel that I've come a long way as a hockey fan, and 99% of that is because of this channel and the effect of watching so much bloody hockey. I watch a lot of hockey. It's kind of crazy, but there is a bias, and when we all look, we can all agree. It seems like every fan base, every fan to a man agrees they hate Gary Bettman. I'm gonna do this too. So there's a hierarchy, right? You've got players who work for the owners, and we can talk about who the popular and unpopular players are. Absolutely. We can talk about who popular and unpopular player or unpopular owners are, right? Here's the funny thing. Gary Bettman is under the owners. Gary Bettman's not their boss. He's the commissioner. They've given him a lot of power because he's made them a lot of money. When he came into power in the early 90s, hockey wasn't doing particularly well. He added a lot of teams. He brought in a lot of money. I think the league makes 4 times more now than it did when he came in. It might be more than that. So here's the thing. Everybody always says we want Bettman out because he's biased, right? And let me just go through the teams that Gary Bettman's been accused of being biased in favor of. And this is just off the top of my head. I've heard Boston, Detroit, Chicago. He really likes the original 6. Rangers, Toronto. I very rarely hear Montreal. Probably because they haven't won a Stanley Cup. That means he's out to get them. Toronto he's in favor of because people are really worried that Toronto eventually will win a Stanley Cup, and it'll prove this theory, so they'll stick to it. I've heard that he was biased in favor. Well, right now, there are people who believe Vegas. Pittsburgh. Is this getting ridiculous yet? Just off the top of my head, I've named 7 teams. And right now, there's fans of other fan bases going, well, he's favor of... Oh, right, yes. Yeah. Right. He's in the corner of Arizona. He's favor of Florida. And Carolina, because he won't allow them to move. That's 10. It's 10 cities. Bettman's in the pocket of all of these guys. You know what? The owners of all these teams are his boss. Bettman has an unthinkable job. If I had Gary Bettman's job, every single person would hate me within a year. Look at it this way. At my old job, I worked at my old meat processing job. You have your bosses up here. You have your union down here. Bosses don't want to deal directly with the union. Sort of like owners don't want to deal directly with the players. And owners want to have a more easy way of delivering information. So what do? You get your HR person to do it. The HR person is there to act as kind of the mouthpiece for what corporate bosses, whatever you want to call them, say. This person's going to be hated and reviled by said union. This person's going to be hated and reviled by a lot of people. All they're doing is keeping their job. When I hear Gary Bettman spewing what he spews, all I hear is, I don't want to get fired. Maybe he loves hockey in Canada. Maybe he wants a team in Saskatoon, Halifax, and Quebec City. And sure, throw in Hamilton while you're at it. Maybe he'd go crazy and throw a team in Kelowna or Red Deer, Victoria. But other owners wouldn't support him. got to have control. You got to have the board back you up. If your HR rep at work goes, hey, you know what? We're going to give you guys everything you want. You know what? Screw corporate. Take the rest of the day off. Guess who gets fired? HR. Guess who gets fired if the NHL starts to skew in favor of the players? Bettman. I always hear, when's Bettman going to go? He's biased. Bettman will go as soon as he stops making the NHL more money. When the players get all the power back. The players have been given more and more money. In exchange for, really the NHL's had more control than the players have thought. That's what the NHL Olympics thing is all about. That was the NHL kind of going, hey, we still have the control. And the players going, wait, what? So that's my opinion about the whole idea that Bettman is biased. And that's my opinion about the whole is the league biased. We're all a little biased. All of us. And that includes me. So I did my best to explain this and why certain hits will get a video and certain hits won't. As soon as the suspension's announced, yeah, then we can discuss it because the NHL's taken a stand that this is against the rules. And then we can discuss, really? Or go, well, yeah, collectively, or maybe we're split down the middle. But when it's a bunch of people just saying, I have to look at that and say, you know what? If I talk about a hit with this result, I have to discuss every single one of them. And they all need their own video and they all need their own amount of attention and time that I may not have. And I don't want to make a 20-minute video on a hit taken by, say, Brock Besser, and then a 5-minute hit on a hit taken by Matthew Barzal, and have an Islanders fan come in going, well, why did Besser get 15 more minutes? And my answer be, well, Canuck reasons. No. So I do my best every day to keep it out of there. But there's a bias just inherently in being sports fans. Football fans on Monday mornings are the biggest example of that. You can talk to if you talk to fans of two teams that played against each other, you will get a completely different picture of how the game went based on their accounts. It is actually kind of fun. I've done that in Canada it's CFL, right? Canadian football, some people really get into it, and you'll hear, the BC Lions, they had a great game last night, and they won, that was awesome. And then you'll talk to, say, the Calgary Stampeders fan of the team that lost. They shouldn't have won that. They were lucky. That was stupid. Completely, it's the same game. Two different eyeballs. I guess 4. Unless they're both Pirates. But that's a totally different idea. So 2 sets of eyeballs watch the game through 2 different lenses and see it completely different. And that happens in hockey a lot. So I trying to just say, hey, this channel, I try to bring it all together, and I do my best to just not buy into the bias as much. Thank you guys for sticking with me and for helping this channel grow. Thanks for sticking with me this long if you made it this long through the video. And this is kind of probably more of a podcast kind of thing than a video kind of thing, so I guess I just blew my podcast for tonight. But I'll look at getting one done soon this week. So thank you guys for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, especially if you made it this far. It means you kind of like me. And I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching.